whether he is awesome on it or not changes from game to game, but you know what? It's a reliable champion. He does play it often, so they will ban it. Tarek's going to come in as a ban. That's definitely targeted towards Ace Fire. I have heard that he has a smaller, smaller than usual champion pool. He will play probably a Tarek or Trundle, and I think Poppy, from what I've heard. Now, I want to say that he probably has more options, but that's what I've seen. That's what I saw at recent tournaments and things like that. So we'll see what he's done to expand that and to change that and to better himself as a player. The last ban coming in will be Volibear. Volibear is a targeted ban. I do believe that SRV is SRV. SRV is usually a top laner as far as I know. He does play Volibear quite exclusively. I do believe he plays probably 2 other major champions in top lane. That would probably be a Darius, and then I have no idea what else. And finally, Gragas. Gragas is a comfort champion for Shirty Elm as well. However, this does leave Rek'Sai available. He will probably love to be on a Rek'Sai. And he does also play himself some Graves and Kindred. So those are also on the table as well. I am going to see first an Aurelia pick coming in. This will obviously remain in top lane. I don't think anyone's going to go and try and be fancy and pick a mid lane Aurelia here. Olaf going to get locked in as well. So with Olaf coming in, that is great. If that's a top lane matchup, that's a really good matchup for Olaf. He does crush Aurelia, and that's something that you used to see consistently in Season 2. Janna is going to get locked in as their support. So it's looking like, oh yes, it will be a top lane Olaf. So it's looking like they're going to have a good amount of disengage for that composition, just having the Janna. She is queen of disengage, as we all know. We do love her for that, and she has become a very a reliable staple in the competitive play with her shields, with her tornadoes, her interrupts, knockouts, and for her disengage and healing. She's very, very safe laner, a very, very safe team fighter as well. Kindred getting hovered here with the Gangplank in mid. This could actually be awful playing Gangplank in mid. That's probably one of the only champions I've ever seen him play, especially in mid lane. Alright, so it will be a Nautilus pick in the jungle, not the Kindred. He was merely hovering it. Now, I do agree that they needed something a little more tanky, so that will bring the tankiness to the table, as well as a bunch of CC. Nautilus is basically a CC bot. Every button that he has is basically a CC. So, I mean, if you count his W with the shield as, auto attacking, his auto attack is a CC. It's a root. His E is a slow, a very, very high slow. Q is a pullback. His R is a knock-up, a mini knock-up, and then a full knock-up to whoever it actually is targeted on. With that Gangplank coming in, this will actually lock their composition into something close to a full AD composition. So this means that they have to win this game fairly early. With the Amumu and the Olaf, I don't see them being able to shred through those tanks 40 minutes into the game. And you're going to have a Karma and an Amumu. This is the second time we now see Amumu coming in. In the last game of the tournament, we did see Amumu in their picks. The Amumu will most likely be going into the jungle, as we do have support and top locked in. Karma is going to be seen in mid lane today for the second time by me actually on this stream. I don't know why everybody's loving this Karma in mid, but you know what? To each his own. If they play it well, it gives your composition lots of shields, lots of speed up, and with the Olaf, that's what you're kind of looking to do. You're kind of looking to speed him up, shield him, get him into the back line so he can do damage. The Sivir is picked on the other side, and it will match that speed. Usually Karma Sivir are seen together when people run Stampede compositions and things like that, but this time they'll be separate. They won't be friends, they won't be holding hands or anything fancy like that in lane. They'll actually be not even attacking each other in the same lane. And Elise is going to get picked up, so I guess Nautilus will be going into the bot lane as support. So that's really cool. With the Caitlyn in there, I don't know how well he'll fare, but you know what? If he lands a hook onto the Janna, it could be plenty of damage. There should be no other swaps coming back around as far as champions moving from here to there. All those champion spots seem to be locked in now. They will both be running exhaust in the bot lane and the standard heal flash. Teleport will be picked up by the GP in the mid lane now against another exhaust by the Karma. So it looks like Karma is just kind of looking to play more supporty role, more hanging out, doing damage when she can, things like that. She's going to need to actually be able to pressure the GP, so I don't know if I really like that exhaust. However, they will have the global pressure from the GP ultimate, the teleport, and as well as the Aurelia ultimate. So it looks like if they're running a pick composition by the choice of the Elise and the Gangplank and the speed, that the boosted animals will have to be aware of that and actually be warding and looking for disengages with their Janna, because chances are that's exactly what they're going for. They're going for the GP ult into a catch or a pick and a just huge run at you kind of engage, because outside of the GP ultimate they don't really have too much of a form of engage. They're very heavily reliant on a Cocoon landing or a Nautilus hook or a Nautilus ultimate. On the other side for boosted animals, you are going to see that Olaf with the Amumu. Now the Amumu will always be your primary engage. You speed him up, he gets into the team. Now and it's one thing that I said on the stream earlier, one of the biggest things is that Amumu doesn't have that big of a skill cap. Like, he's a very easy champion to play, very easy champion to manage. Once you hit 6, you're basically just going to lanes, pressing R, and seeing if you can clean up something. Now, when team fights happen, you're kind of looking for people to funnel into an area. This can happen, and they actually are starting to focus on this strength when they have the Caitlyn pick. The Caitlyn will be able to shrink up the area, or more or less create a stronger choke point with her traps, and actually help to avoid any type of engage that Team 7 will have for them, because now you have to worry about Caitlyn traps, you have to worry about walking through a Mumu ultimate. Jan is going to be there also to disengage you, so it actually makes it easier for Karma to land spells. It makes it easier for Janna to land her knockups, Olaf axes, things like that. There will be still looking to team fight, I'm sure, on both sides. However, Team 7's composition is more designed around them actually getting a pick and starting a team fight, and boosted animals are actually more focused about just starting a team fight, or having you fight them at an objective because they have that Amumu, or fighting in the jungle because they have that Amumu. So we're going to see how both of these teams actually stack up against each other, and we're going to have 2 split pushers in the Olaf and the Aurelia, and it's more important for us to know who's going to win that top lane matchup, whether it will be the Elise who will be able to affect that top lane matchup more than the Amumu, because if either of these players gets ahead, they will be able to split push pretty easily against the other one. The one thing that the Aurelia does have to worry about is the fact that Olaf does have pretty good sustain. He does have pretty good damage with his axes and his true damage as well. Aurelia does have true damage, but it's more of a less bursty, more of a I need to auto attack you 3-4 times, whereas to stack up kind of deal. And after 6, Aurelia's big trade is she can stun. After 6, Aurelia cannot stun Olaf anymore if he wants to all in. We will be in just a few seconds getting into the game now, and I do think that we're in for a pretty good one overall with the picks that we have currently. Like I said, it's all based upon how this team or each team will be playing their composition. If they misplay their composition, obviously it plays into the hands of the other team. If you take a straight up 5v5 fight, chances are, unless you're ahead, if you're team 7, you're not winning that fight, just based upon the Amumu being in that composition, and the Caitlyn, who chances are you probably won't get to. We're going to see how the bot lane will go with a melee support. Like I said, if the Janna gets hooked by the Nautilus, then sure, there can be plenty of damage that'll come through onto the Janna, but having that shield constantly up, having the poke from the Caitlyn and the Janna both together, and the shields onto the Caitlyn to do damage to the Sivir, their bot lane matchup is not favorable. It's not favorable. Caitlyn has such a great matchup against Sivir alone then you're adding a melee support in while Janna's supporting the Caitlyn to disengage any type of Nautilus hooks and things like that with a Q. So we're going to see how that bot lane matchup goes, but I do foresee that the bot lane matchup goes heavily in the favor of boosted animals. In mid lane, honestly, that's a toss-up. I don't know how either player will fare. I have not seen either of them play mid lane too much. I do believe that one is a top lane player, one is an AD carry player for the most part. So we'll see how that actually works out. And I want to see how SRV does in the jungle. I do know SRV plays a lot of top lane, and obviously he can comfortably transition to jungle if he did choose so. We are currently waiting for who it appears to be Awful to load in. If he did not load in, they will most likely just remake, but or pause, I should say, remake. They will most likely just pause and allow him to do so, because on my screen he has not connected. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of starts they do, if he's even in the game. There it is. There's the pause because he did not connect. So we didn't even have to ask, did we? He is not in the game. All right, so yeah, Toaster, as said right there, Toaster. All right, now I don't think there's too much more for me to talk about as far as jungle goes, and top lane and bot lane and mid lane, but I do want to say that we're gonna see what Amumu does. We're gonna see what Amumu does early in this game. If Amumu decides that he can be effective before level 6, which chances are he probably won't be, he'll be able to actually get a huge lead over the Elise, because Elise should be punishing him early in the game, counter jungling him, things like that. She is very, very good at that. If she can land a cocoon to start off, chances are she can kill you in your own jungle. But if Moon was able to stay safe, avoid the Elise, not get tracked over wards or anything like that, and not risk his own life by walking into their jungle and trying to counter jungle the Elise, he should be able to be good until he's 6. Elise doesn't get too much at level 6, and Amumu becomes, a Mumu at level 6. I want to see, I think the Karma should be shoving in the Gangplank as much as possible, doing as much damage as possible to him. I don't know how well it'll go. Barrel trading should happen pretty easily. Karma should be able to auto those down. She has a pretty good auto attack range. That should actually force Gangplank to miss a good amount of parlays, and should make it a lot more difficult for him to farm up those Silver Serpents, I believe they're called, and get his ultimate ranks up. And with GP, you do need that ramp up time for you to be effective. At level 6, though, watch for the teleports, watch for the Gangplank ults. How's the volume in the stream? Is it loud, too loud? Is it perfect for you guys? How's it? I have to, gauge this. Okay, thank you. I do think I'm gonna get a little louder here and there, but as long as the volume is okay for you guys, I will keep it just where it is. I'm sure I'll get a little excited during the game and start yelling a little bit, but I do believe that the software will make an attempt to adjust my volume. This always stinks when there's a pause at the start of the game, because basically, I'm staring at nothing. I have nothing to talk about for the most part, and it's very, very awkward. Very awkward. However, I will say that I do hope that the performance of this Amumu is equal to the performance of the last Amumu that I have seen. And the last Amumu in game 1, he did a pretty good job, actually. He did, however, have a bard that was assisting him to make sure that he could get in the lane before 6 and even after 6, so that enabled them to do a lot, and that's, you know, that's what Bard does. So we'll have a Janna in the bot lane right now who will probably not be able to do the same thing, and we'll see how that actually pans out for them. All right, well, so we'll talk about who's my favorite champion in this game. Let's see. My favorite champion in this game is, let's see, what do I got? What do I got? Olaf. Olaf wins this. Olaf actually is my favorite champion in this game. I have liked Olaf since basically I started, well, not since I started playing this game, but definitely since around season 2. I liked Olaf, and Olaf actually was, when I started this game, I really didn't I didn't really know where I liked to play the most. I jungled a lot. I was very heavily into jungling. Then I played a little bit of top lane, and for the most part, I had probably my highest win rate on Olaf. And because I like to jungle, I used to play most of the champions I played at top lane in the jungle as well. I used to play some Darius jungle, and I did not really play Darius in top lane ever. But Darius jungle, Olaf jungle. I loved Olaf jungle. It was super fun, so I just continued to do it. And yeah, Olaf is probably one of my better champions still in top lane, even though I don't get to play him that often. Because nowadays I'm playing probably jungle, AD carry, and support. So I am very happy to see that he's even played in the jungle now. Yeah, second favorite coming in this game is probably... oh man, this is actually difficult. I really like Karma. I actually do like Karma top, Karma mid. I have played Karma support, since now she's actually better in that position. But yeah, it's probably a toss-up between Nautilus and Karma. I have played quite a bit of the good old Naut when I was just playing jungle all the time. Played a lot of jungle Nautilus. When Twin Shadows was still in the game, I was building that and using that for the run speed and the slow thing, basically utility tank. It was really fun. And I thought he was a really strong jungler. The only problem that he had, obviously, was he could get counter jungled by, like, you know, Lee Sin and things like that. Lee Sin's not in this game, or I would have named Lee Sin as my favorite champion. Lee Sin actually is my favorite champion. You could probably see during Champ Select that I do have prints of Lee Sin and Jinx both behind me, as well as Vi and Jinx above. Jinx was my favorite AD carry, followed by Graves. And then my favorite support is actually Bard. Most people who have ever really played with me already know that, and it's not. Yeah, it's not so much that I think. I mean, Bard is really cool. Excuse me. A summoner has reconnected. Bard is really cool. I think you can do a lot with him. He does so much, but I enjoy playing him, and I think that he is probably one of the strongest supports in the game. Strongest champions in the game, so I very much enjoy all of that. We're going to be getting into the game here. Looks like everybody is ready, so I'll have to stop talking about myself. I'm sorry, everyone. You will not hear anything else about my life until this game is over, and we will get into this, and we're going to see if they will manage to actually get out of the fountain right now, because I know the fountain is a very attractive place. We'll see what kind of starts they do, if they're going to go for an invade, if they're going to go for a standard start. I don't think boosted animals will be looking for any type of invade, considering they have an Amumu. I have seen people invade with an Amumu, but I wouldn't advise it. And the fact that outside of the Amumu they don't have any CC, it's probably not the best invade for them. But with a Nautilus and an Elise, I would be looking to invade really hard there, and I don't think they're going to. I think they're just going to do standard starts. I think this is actually a missed opportunity. I know not everybody feels that way, but I do really truly believe that this is a missed opportunity for them, unless they're gonna do a very sneaky late invade here onto the buff. That's what it appears to be. Like, my camera's just sitting here on them. I think they see the gangplank, and the gangplank is a diversion. However, the Elise is checking with her W. They're gonna get a hook onto Caitlyn. She won't have to flash though. There is no follow-up damage, so I think Caitlyn would be safe to just. Is she gonna recall? I thought Caitlyn would be actually safe to stay in the lane, honestly. No summoners blown here by either AD carry or by any of the supports, so no big deal. Lanes will stay standard. They got a little bit of chunk damage, but it doesn't amount to anything. They're gonna get a ward down on that blue buff, so they get a timer, I guess, on it. I don't really know what the purpose of that blue is. You want to see him doing it, unless she's gonna come and counter jungle. So we'll see. We'll see how aggressive the Olaf plays this lane against Aurelia. Like I said, Olaf can just trash Aurelia in lane. It's something that should happen. Caitlyn's playing a little far back here with the Janna. They're giving a little bit of respect to the Nautilus. Amumu will be picking up his blue, which is required. All right, so Nautilus will miss his first hook, and he will take. Oh, they don't have a ward in that brush. He would have took a good amount of poke there. He should have taken more than one auto attack, but he did not. Olaf landing some consistent. He's still level. Okay, there it is. Level 2. So landing some consistent damage with those axes, though, onto Aurelia already. They shove for the level 2. There's level 2 on the Sivir. Ooh, a nice headshot auto attack. There's a hook coming through. There's going to be a trap that goes down. It will keep the Sivir away. And Janna will take a bunch of damage. And then Nautilus will take a bunch more. So one trade, actually, for the bot lane and boosted animals here. It's going to be an early gank here. And apparently my camera doesn't like to go up to this. Early gank by the Elise, but some damage. That's it. No big deal. No flash, no anything burned there in mid lane. This is why you can't play with directed camera. See that? Directed camera. I try to allow it to do its thing for, one game, and it just can't. It can't manage it. All right, good shield by the Nautilus there. It actually takes away all of the damage from the headshot. Caitlyn, standard poke. Mumu is grabbing his blue buff currently. Jumps over to the backside here. Karma landing a few auto attacks, it looks like, onto the GP. Pushing him under his tower, as she probably should be doing. Olaf is completely so the chances of him beating Aurelia right now are fairly slim. He definitely needs to be able to land some axes in order to do any type of damage. At least we'll land a cocoon onto him. She's gonna go in, but Olaf burns his ghost. I don't agree with that. I mean, there was no one in range. What was gonna happen to you? Aurelia is gonna flash onto you and slow you again? No. I don't agree with that burn of the ghost, but you know what? At least gets it on the gank. Nautilus taking a good amount of damage here. The Caitlyn trap will go out onto the Sivir. The Janna trying to turn it around with a shield, but Caitlyn will take a huge amount of poke from, I believe it's Ricochet as well. Olaf, no summoner. Okay. So Aurelia is actually pushing the wave, or so it seems. And Olaf should be able to catch up on CS now. Sivir is actually up on CS with, I think, Caitlyn being able to get probably about 2 extra out of this wave. So fairly even, which really honestly shouldn't be happening in a Caitlyn lane. The Caitlyn should be ahead overall. The shield will come through. It will stop that. Caitlyn's going to turn this around onto the Sivir. Both exhausts going down. There will be a flash, probably auto attack. No, there will not. The heal was still sitting in the bank. I think she would have been waiting for the Caitlyn to flash in. There's going to be a root going down to the GP. He will actually scurvy out of this. The Amumu will follow up. The cocoon will hit onto the Karma. They are trying to 1v1 each other right now. The Karma will flash over, land a Q. Soulfire will pick up the kill. There's another binding going out onto the Karma. Onto the Elise. The Elise will turn around with a flash, trying to get out. The Amumu will stop his chase there because he cannot 1v1 the Elise. So, good trade there. Carmen will pick up 1 kill in that lane. The GP will have to TP back to lane here. I don't think... Oh, he does have enough, just enough to get his Sheen if he's going to get a Sheen. And there it will be. He will pick up his Sheen. GP will now, you know, have some type of a little power spike. Nothing major, but a little tiny one. Janna going to ward standard to make sure that the Elise doesn't show up and mess up what they've got going here. Caitlyn is within again 7 CS of the Sivir. Sivir actually farming quite a bit better than she should be, as I noted. Elise is going to get spotted out on that ward, so they know that she is around. And right now, Caitlyn is playing around on her traps. That will ensure that if Nautilus actually hooks, she can just run back to it, since Nautilus hook does not pull him directly to the target. So in order for that to be effective, she would have to stand behind the trap. Still good enough. I think she's going to back here. She might get BF sword. And then I believe she'll be building into a Hurricane. That seems to be the standard build. I myself don't really care for it, but seems to be the thing that people do for the wave clear. I don't think they understand why they do it, but they just do it. They figure it's incompetitive. I'm going to do it. I remember a time when people used to make fun of you if you built a crit item first. And now it's like a standard thing. So Karma just stood in that barrel there and took a good amount of damage from something that she could have probably easily just auto-attacked. GP taking a little bit of poke from that Soulfire. Relatively about standard right now, but you're going to get that shove. When Sivir goes back, you're really going to see the difference in CS. Caitlyn was able to actually catch most of that wave that was here after her recall. And you're going to see if the CS lead decreases, because that just ballooned very, very largely as the Caitlyn had to recall for her first buy. Elise clearing out a pink ward again, taking care of that vision. And Nautilus just burned his hook. I do believe they saw him burn his hook. A couple of auto attacks going down. Sivir fairly low on mana. Elise actually going to be soloing the dragon here. Yeah, so just about standard things happening. GP leaving to help with that, and Sivir as well. So they had to have known that they were doing that dragon, considering they all just left to try and help with it. Amumu is level 7. Amumu should have already been ganking. He should have burned his ultimate at least once by now, because you're Amumu. If you have your ultimate up, there's no purpose. You need to be really fighting. This is going to be an all-in onto the Caitlyn. I didn't think this was even going to be remotely close, but a lot of damage going on to the Caitlyn here. The Caitlyn cannot actually walk through that ultimate. GP ult on cooldown now. Good amount of pressure into bot lane. If they had maybe like a teleport or something like that, they possibly could have gotten that. Scurvy, he scurvies early. Root doesn't get applied. Now Olaf doing a good amount of damage to the Aurelia up here. Let's see really quickly. Olaf is leveling his axes, so his true damage is about 50 damage, I believe it is. And wow, Amumu just... I didn't think there was actually going to be a fight there. I apologize, but Amumu just kills, solos the GP. GP where he didn't need to be at that point. Nautilus hook will go out, but it will miss. So Caitlyn getting back into this, farming back up. It is, I guess, something you can say that Caitlyn does become really, really good as time goes on. But you need to be worried about her lane pressure. And right now, if you're not ahead on CS, if you're not going to shove this wave in while the Sivir's gone, you're basically just going to give her back this entire wave, unless they're going to wait to see if it dies. At least going to sweep out some vision at top lane and be hanging around They possibly could be looking for a dive in top lane. There is no wave actually shoving up. Now let's see what the first. Yep, this will be a hurricane coming, most likely for the Caitlyn. She's already got Brawler's Glove and a dagger. Now, at least still hovering around top lane. Olaf is going to pick up this nice juicy wave, equal out the CS. Gold should remain about dead even. Yep. Alright, so Olaf going to go up a little bit on CS. That means that just that little extra gold he's got is going to make the difference. Olaf is almost out of mana, so I don't think he should be trying to fight Aurelia right now. I also think that the Olaf should be applying more pressure here onto the Aurelia, but he might be afraid. He might be afraid of snowball in this lane. And okay, don't turn around. Oh, there it is. The Amumu is going to get the flash out with this Q alone, and I think he will be able to. No, he's not going to chase. GP flash. The Karma will flash as well to keep the tether on, and the auto attack will finish him. The Nautilus will use his ultimate, but the Elise is there with the cocoon to finish him off. I think the tether will not be enough. There was no mantra for that. The Amumu is here still headbutting the Aurelia down, and guess what? Aurelia is dead. So they've got 2-3 fights going on around the map. Nothing more to say about that other than right now, GP not feeling so good. And top lane, well, better do something with that advantage. Sivir looking to actually all in here, but it looks like Caitlyn, knowing she's going to die, she's going to go for this. Oh, the pushback. That's forward bot lane. There's nobody on the map to actually get anything, so that was actually a really good gank by them. Nobody on the map to actually be able to pressure any type of objectives. Amumu had recalled, Karma was dead, and Olaf was recalled too. So I don't know why he stayed so long in base, but yeah, that's easy peasy 4-man gank at bot lane, no type of retaliation at all, and they will get this tower. So first tower of the game going down. Sivir's gonna really appreciate that gold. Mumu does have his ultimate, so I do believe there's gonna go out. Olaf will tear up the Elise right now. GP will go down again for the 4th time, and to follow this up, Karma will pick up another kill onto the Nautilus. The Elise will get out by flashing. So you've got Summoner's Burn on both sides. Teleport basically burn for the Olaf. No match GP by the Aurelia, but it looks like Team 7 will pay for their overstaying there. Boosted Animals were able to get in range, come down, and actually make the most of that. It was a very heavy overstay. They had a small advantage. They should have just took it and left. Now with the dragon coming up, wards around the dragon should be getting placed down by both teams if they're in range. There's going to be a huge fight. Amumu's going to have his ultimate for that fight, and you're going to see probably a very large gold swing, because the gold right now is sitting about even. Olaf looking to trade with the Aurelia. He will pick up his axe. He can actually chase her all the way down, and this is what I was talking about with Olaf. He backs off. Okay, she was about a quarter of the way through the lane, but he just gave that one up. Lots of damage going out onto the Sivir. There is no Amumu ultimate, so all they're basically going to do is try and chase down here. That's a kill. Amumu picks up another one. 4 kills on the Amumu. I don't know if that's really where you want your kills to be, but you know what? If he's able to secure them, I guess. So good amount of damage going to be taken by the Amumu here, just from the dragon alone. Karma going to head off the Elise, but she's going to land Cocoon. Most damage going down. Barrel chain going to happen, but that's not going to be enough. Karma will not get out of this one, and the Elise will pick that up. They won't get anything for it, and the Sivir are going to chunk down the Janna and put her away. Sivir going to burn her ultimate, but I don't know how much is going to come of this. good amount of damage going out onto the Caitlyn from the barrel chain. The Elise hovering around the side looking for some more picks. So good amount of gold gotten by Team 7 here. Pulled them off the dragon as well. It's very questionable start on that dragon, honestly. With the Amumu being so low, not having ultimate, you really don't want to start that dragon until he has ultimate. And now Caitlyn's low, not going to be able to protect this tower. GP probably going to be able to wave clear this, just having his barrel chain down. And now, who do you have? Janna? You have Janna to protect this. Karma's wave clear is kind of meh. And this whole time, Aurelia is in top lane, farming away. Just farming. Olaf has not been back to top lane since he teleported down. They're going to continue to shove this with the Sivir. That's fine. Sivir going up 25 CS over the Caitlyn, including some kills. So right now, Sivir looking to be very, very far ahead of the Caitlyn. And when I say very far ahead, that's a relative term, but it's about 1,300 gold, 1,400 gold right now, which is a good amount. That's a BF sword. So Elise was going in right there onto 2 champions, but it looks like a lot of damage coming out. Amumu going to go back in. Does not have his ultimate anymore, but Karma going to finish that off with a soul fire. If Karma has a flash, that's 2. Could be 3. All she needs is that Janna around to support her. Okay, so Karma able to clean up 2 kills on the backside of that fight there. Caitlyn lives, Amumu lives. Now, there's a little bit of a dicey fight because Amumu had actually burned his ultimate to try and CC the Elise, who just repelled into the air and it completely missed. However, that Elise kill should have been secured way ahead of time. This also has to do heavily with the Amumu having a lot of the kills instead of things like Caitlyn or Olaf. But when Amumu has 4 kills, 4 assists, and no one else really has too many assists, chances are those kills would not have been gotten if it wasn't for the Amumu anyway. He actually has 2 solo kills, I believe. Two solo kills if I recognize. In top lane he got 1, and in mid lane he got 1 on the GP. There's a ping coming down onto the Caitlyn and the Janna. There's no tower behind them. Amumu is fairly low. He will get his smite off, but I do believe he will just clear out his Krugs and recall here and get a buy-in. He is going slightly AP. He's going to go, I believe, Rylai's, it looks like. I kind of agree with this, and the only reason I agree with this is because he does have a good amount of kills on the team. So he does have to make himself a little more effective, like damage-wise. You can't just take a bunch of gold and then be a tank. It doesn't really work that way. So he's ahead. You need to build a little bit of damage so that you stay ahead, because you already have the Cinderholt, which is more than enough to deal with, the damage that they have on the other team. However, you need to be aware that there are 2 Trinity Force users on the other side, and they both have their power spikes now. So with Caitlyn around, they should be able to wave clear. And with the Karma, you should be able to wave clear. However, with the Caitlyn being in bot lane farming, right now it's just Karma and Olaf axes to try and, keep this tower up so that she has enough time to make it up here before anyone engages. It looks like the Aurelia is making her way back towards top lane. So the Elise will get caught out by a bandage toss and a smite. Elise getting chunked down super heavily. And then the Amumu will use his little party surprise curse of the... I guess he's not sad because it's a party. Onto both Nautilus and the Elise. The Nautilus should not have gone in at that point. There was no one there to help them. The Elise was just trying to get out. You were just giving them another kill. Bunch of mastery flashing happening. TSM logo happening. Alright. Aurelia off to the side. I don't see them as being able to actually do anything here. No real successful barrel chain happening. GP is going to ult just to clear the wave and to push them off the tower so they don't get it. Caitlyn getting her little bit of poke down. The Hurricane is very, very strong on Caitlyn. It does increase the amount of headshots that you get very, very quickly. It's like every 3-4 auto attacks you get it. Amumu's going to miss his Bandage Sauce there, so that's okay. They will actually pop their shield, mantra, and disengage off of this anyway. They're going to take about a 1k gold lead here. The 1k gold lead is merely off of just like we saw that tower happening and a few kills that they have in, over the other team. Now, big thing to notice is Olaf is trying to get that. Olaf's trying to get that tower at top. This will increase the gold lead a little more. However, if he dies for this, I don't know how worth this will be. So Olaf actually needs to just, yeah, there we go. Either turn and fight the Aurelia while you have your ultimate or run away. Karma still looking to wave clear in mid lane. GP trying to get this as well as the Elise and the Sivir. Now with the Olaf not having his ultimate, I don't think they can actually team fight. There's no ghost, no ultimate. You never ever actually want to fight as Olaf unless you have some excessive engage on your team. You never want to actually be fighting. All right, as I say this, looks like Caitlyn getting caught out of position. Yep, Elise and Sivir both going to take her down. Ultimate used by the Sivir for the engage. Mumu going to actually engage onto the Nautilus, but GP going to be enough to just barrel chain and disengage the team from coming in on that. As I was saying, you never really want to be fighting as Olaf without your ultimate. You need that to be able to penetrate the back line. And as I was saying that, the Caitlyn was getting caught out at bot lane. So right now they're waiting for Caitlyn to respawn. This team needs to be sieging. If you're going to siege, you need to get Caitlyn traps down. You need to have pressure in other lanes. Right now their wave is pushing at top. The wave at bottom is going to continue to push until we get that tower. And the only issue you have with that is Caitlyn's going to go back to bot lane. And when Caitlyn goes to bot lane to try and get that tower, there's no wards. There are no wards. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like 6. That's a rough estimate. 6, 7 wards by Team 7. And right now you have 3 wards on the map total for boosted animals. 2 of those being pink wards. So wards that you never even have to upkeep. And having 2 wards in positions that don't assist Caitlyn at all, and the third one not assisting her either, there's no coverage. There's no vision for her to know that, you know, the Elise was coming down with the Sivir. She could have just thought, oh hey, it's, you know, Elise gonna come down here and kill me because I'm trying to do this tower and take it and get the gold, and that's what she thought, because she could not actually see that there was a Sivir there as well. Vision being denied here by the Dragon Pit. Now what you need here is the Amumu to be set up to engage. You need vision control. And what you don't need is the Amumu being by himself chasing a Nautilus. He needs to be with the team and actually able to engage when they need it. Nautilus chunked down to about half HP. Pink Ward going to get taken out. Now if they decide that they want to fight this without the Sivir, this could be a very, very dangerous fight. It looks like Elise is going to try and make her way in. I don't know if boosted animals know that the Sivir is not here for their team, for Team 7. They will get the dragon. Amumu will get into the team and pop Curse of the Sad Mummy onto the whole team. He is tanking up everyone in the entire fight. While there's 2 fights happening on the other side, Elise will land a cocoon onto the Caitlyn. The Caitlyn will take a bunch of damage, pop flash, and heal, and get back. There's a bunch of damage going out by the Karma, and the Olaf, and the knockup by the Janna was pro. She knocked out 4 people with that tornado. The barrel chain will come across, but not land and kill. Now we've got a chase going on onto the GP and onto the Elise. The barrel chain will do a bunch of damage again, and almost the Elise Spider is almost able to finalize a kill here. Oh man, that was close. The Janna flashes in for an exhaust, but I think those are wasted. And I think it's just about time for you to engage. Party's over, bro. So that was a clutch Janna knockup. I don't care what anybody says. That Janna knockup literally saved that team fight for them. It was enabled first an Olaf axe to come across, a Piltover Peacemaker to come across, and it enabled the Karma Q to land, which did a ton of damage to them in that small choke point that's right about here. Fantastic. Yes, the party was over, bro. So right now, Boosted Animals should be enjoying a good lead, but they are not. Their pressure on the map is actually falling off. They still have been unable to get many towers at all. They only have one to their name. If they actually knock down that top tower and that bot tower, they'll be able to accumulate probably about a 2,000 gold lead, which at 26 minutes isn't that much. To be honest, they need to be doing exactly what they did at that dragon pit, trying to force their opponents into a choke point so that they can actually set up like a siege attempt almost with traps and things like that, and having the Amumu go in. Amumu's supposed to die in team fights. It's fine. Once he's in, he basically tanked the entire team for the whole duration of that team fight. And that enabled them to actually get damage down and to land a few more kills than they should have. So right now they're enjoying a nice little tiny baby lead of about 700 gold, which, as I said, is not much. Now watch the gold lead go up. The gold lead's going to go up now. It's about 1,500. So if you get that other tower, as they start Baron, you get that other tower, that'll be about 2,000, just over 2,000 gold. They don't see them doing this Baron. There isn't enough vision on the map, and I don't think that they're even aware of it. Olaf is going to stumble across that. Yeah, there, he sees it. So now that they know they've done the Baron, we can talk about that. They had no vision, absolutely no vision. This goes back to where last game I said the same thing about the teams. People set up vision, or players set up vision wherever they want to be for the next minute or two. All right. When they wanted that Baron, that Baron, they put down wards in that area. When they wanted the dragon, Boosted Animals wanted that dragon, they set down wards. Look at where all their wards are. They're all around that dragon pit. They wanted to basically buy a dragon. Olaf looking to engage. You should not be actually hitting that Nautilus. Amumu's going to go in and get a nice engage onto the back line. Amumu's going to actually get out of this because the Elise is going to jump down onto him. Janna will get a beautiful disengage onto the team. And the GP will block that ace in the hole, and that will not be enough to finish the Sivir. However, they will get this tower for free. That Amumu engage was really, really good, considering the fact that he locked up 3 members of the team and enabled them to actually do damage. Now, the only thing I did not agree with on that team fight was the fact that they turned to focus down the Nautilus. As of right now, these team fights are going well. There are a few reasons why they're going well, and then there are a few reasons. Oh man, huge amount of damage coming in onto the Sivir. The Karma's flanking, gonna get the kill onto the Sivir, possibly get the kill onto the GP. The trap lands, and he will get a headshot kill. Now, the Aurelia is split pushing really, really hard, and that is kind of what you want to do against a team fight composition. But without her being there and the team getting engaged upon, her split pushing probably isn't going to do as much as you would think. Now, don't get me wrong, she is getting towers, so that's great for her team. But if Boosted Animals decides to group right now and push any tower, whether it's top or bottom, they're going to get that tier 2. Just the simple fact of the Aurelia not being there, they're going to get that tier 2. And once the tier 1 and top goes down, she will not actually be able to, even be able to push that as easily, because right now she has that really great pressure at top lane because the tower is there. Tier 1 is going to keep bouncing that wave. And once the Olaf gets rid of that tower, you're not going to have that ability to do that. And as I say this, a flash engage will come onto the Karma, and the Karma will be obliterated. Proto Belt goes out, Cocoon's going to land, Hook's going to land, and she will be finished. Now, I do think that just for that kill, you're going to have the Amumu and the Janna looking to take the inside track here, but they will get cut off. There's going to be a teleport coming out, and the Amumu is going to land his engage again onto the Nautilus. They at least will dodge it. The Olaf coming in with a teleport. Caitlyn in the back line, untouched, doing tons of damage. She will get hit by the Cocoon, though. Olaf going to escape with barely any HP. And at least this time, Aurelia was with the team. I don't believe Aurelia has used her teleport that often in this game. I don't believe I've even seen her teleport to anything other than maybe at Baron. I don't remember who it was that was teleporting in from to stop the Olaf, but it may have been the GP. Plenty of damage going to go down onto the Elise, At least looking to try and juke here, and she will get taken down by the Caitlyn. Caitlyn's range is massive. You're really not going to be able to get away with that, especially if you have a Janna who's slowing you on the side with a W. So Zephyr is really good at that. And yeah, Caitlyn range godly. Now we might see a 1v1 fight. Sivir still doesn't have ultimate. Karma is actually going to be running down this Nautilus. They have a huge wave coming in at bot lane. Sivir trying to chunk it down. I mean, Sivir is the right person to be doing this. But the W will take it down. Ricochet will shave down that wave, and Caitlyn will not be able to shove this. GP going to push his luck at top lane. Now, the only issue I have with this, with the GP going to top lane is Olaf is going to crush him. If he runs into the Olaf at top lane, GP is just going to get run down the whole way. Mumu doing a little fancy counter jungling there. Because, you know, a Mumu, that's what he does. He counter jungles. Oh my god! That flash. GP was so scared of that Amumu at Gromp that he flashed. He literally flashed. Like, that's incredible. You flash an Amumu as soon as you saw him. That should tell you what kind of presence he has on the map. That should tell you the mindset that the other team has for this Amumu actually getting into their team or being anywhere near them. He flashed instantly as Gangplank, who can literally just press W and get out of the CC. He flashed instantly. Yeah, I mean, now he won't have that for a team fight. And if they can't, other than the Gangplank ultimate, if they don't get any type of pressure onto Caitlyn, and I mean that by saying like Elise or Aurelia can't get to the back line onto Caitlyn, Caitlyn is going to chunk down their whole team. She's now finished a BT. She's now finished her Hurricane and her IE. So plenty of damage, plenty of sustain coming through. Right now, all she needs is, and she doesn't even need Last Whisper, really. I was just going to say Last Whisper. She doesn't even really need Last Whisper because the only person who has any type of armor is Dead Man's Plate, and that's in Aurelia. And Dead Man's Plate does not provide you with that much armor. It's more of like an offensive tank item. It's got 50 armor. And I say it's offensive because if your choices are Randuin's Omen against a Caitlyn and a Dead Man's Plate, and you pick Dead Man's Plate, first of all, yes, you get HP. That's fine. You get a little bit of run speed, a little bit of extra damage, and 50 armor. Randuin's Omen has more armor, about the same HP, and it negates critical strikes and slows attack speed. A really botched engage going to be happening there. Amumu playing this very, very patiently, actually, waiting to be able to get something out of it. Caitlyn poking down the Nautilus. Nautilus going to die for free. GP, way late to the party, decided he was going to teleport in, but I don't see how this is going to be very helpful. Now, the Olaf is at top lane while the Aurelia is in mid lane, but honestly, with the amount of poke damage coming out, okay, now I think the Elise should die here, actually. Never mind. I misspoke. But the amount of poke that's coming down off of the Caitlyn and the Karma, you really need to actually be with your team if you're Aurelia. You need to be that threat to the backline. If you're not that threat to the backline, Caitlyn just free hits. Just free hits the entire way. Now they're going to push up on this tower again. They already got traps set out. So that means that no one can actually just run at them. And there's more poke going to be taken. GP already burned his Scurvy. So if he's burned his Scurvy, Mumu knows that if he goes in here, he will actually get this kill. Caitlyn taking almost no damage between the BT and the Janna shields. Aurelia's at top lane trying to stop the split push of the Olaf here. The Olaf is really big. If they do fight the Olaf, and see, this is what I was talking about. 60 armor as opposed to 50 armor, same HP, negative 10% damage taken from critical strikes, which is fantastic against Caitlyn because she's going to crit you all day long. 15% attack speed slow, and movement slow when you activate it. As opposed to 50 armor, same amount of HP, and you just run a little faster. You need a defensive item. You need to be able to defend against that Caitlyn. You need the fact that when she hits you with a hurricane, that it slows our attack speed for the rest of the team as well. It's basically an AoE save for your team if you have a Randuin's. 15% attack speed. GP gonna ultimate here. We'll clear them out from Baron. I think they're just gonna wait this out. They are looking to actually get a full-on engage. Sivir is running across the mid lane. They do see the Sivir coming, but I wonder if they'll just stay on this to try and get it. At least this is gonna make this a 50-50 steal. Even if they get this though, the Mumu will secure it. There will be a huge engage going out. Nautilus will die instantly. Olaf will put down the Elise. Aurelia will follow. There's a flash coming in by the Janna for the slow. Ace in the hole will finish off the gangplank, and that could possibly be the game. They're going to easily just ignore the Sivir, push down mid lane. You have 45 seconds on half the team, 30 on the rest of them. Nautilus doesn't even matter that he's going to be coming back up. They're going to get this tower, and they may possibly just push on this. They have Baron buff, minions, 30 seconds now on most of the team. Sivir is not going to be able to wave clear this. Are they just going to? They are just going to play this safe. They definitely could have gotten both Nexus towers there. But they're going to play this safe. They're going to go back. They're going to get the Elder Drake. That's okay. I'll say that this was the calculated, more calculated, safe choice for them to do this. Their next push, they can push bottom, they can push top, make sure their waves are pushed, and they should be able to end this game. This game is definitely in the bag unless they throw it very, very heavily. Caitlyn gonna get this bot wave. She already has Last Whisper. So Aurelia having 50 extra armor means absolutely nothing. And Aurelia building a Blade of the Rune King means absolutely nothing because you don't have a tank. You don't have anyone building any armor, and that is disrespectful to the Caitlyn, who is now 8 kills deep with 6 assists, 300 CS. That would be like if the other team didn't build any armor against your Sivir. And Caitlyn is out-damaging Sivir right now. That is highly disrespectful to the other champion. And you know what? You pay for it. You're going to pay for this. And if, you know, unless I said, like, barring any type of throw that happens, you're going to pay for this with a loss. And because the other team does not have any type of AP threat, guess what? Mikhails comes in for the Janna. No big deal there. You get people out of Cocoon. You can get people out of a Nautilus hook or root. You can get people out of Aurelia's stun. This is what happens when you go full AD. The only shield that you or type of AP damage that's going to come through is going to be from the Elise, and the Amumu has already taken care of it. Mumu's going to be right in there, right inside the team. He's going to have the aura. No big deal. Janna's not trying to be there. So they're going to have a huge amount of burn coming in, actually, off of this dragon. And I really think that if they get any type of engage, if Amumu flanks this and dives the tower, they win this. Amumu can go basically anywhere he wants because they cannot deal with him right now. Karma speed going to come through. Flash in for the root. Amumu flash will miss. Bunch of damage coming across. Caitlyn still untouched. Amumu is going to land a bandage toss onto the Elise. She will go down. The Aurelia going to get poked down heavily, and I do believe that with 4 people or 3 people dead, Sivir coming, this will be the game for them. They're just going to dive this Sivir most likely. If she stays anywhere remotely close, they're diving it. There it is. There's the dive. Auto attack. Sivir's dead. And Amumu's going to give his life. Aurelia finally showing up to the game. Aurelia, please. Were you late? What happened? Did you miss the bus? That will be the end of that game. Game 2, round 2 of Boosted LANimals Fall 2016. All right, so a few things to mention in this game, honestly. One of which, as I said when the game closed, Aurelia basically absent from that game. You picked Aurelia for, you know, a backline threat, a split pusher, You were nowhere near any of those fights. There are 12 kills on the board. You are a part of 3. A part of 3. And yes, you have very little death because you were a part of 3. So that means basically anytime she was near a fight, she died, and they got 1 kill for it. With the Olaf having a almost 4,000 or 3,000 gold lead, 3.2k gold lead over her, building armor so that he could sustain in fights against a full AD team, basically outside of Elise, having shields, having speed ups. He's doing way more being with the team than having to just split push against an Aurelia. And then at that point, he's still able to kill her. The GP in mid was not a good pick because now you've just bottlenecked your team into a full AD. And who cares if you're Gangplank and you can barrel chain someone, okay? You barrel chain the team. You got a bunch of people building armor. Yes, you have armor penetration and armor ignorance on your barrels, but it doesn't really make a difference. Like, their team is looking to just engage on you, shield up, and just CC you and kill you. So if you have an Amumu, he engages. You barrel chain the back line with karma shields on it. You're only going to get 1 barrel chain in a fight. Maybe 2 if you're kiting. Chances are you're not doing enough damage for it to matter, especially if people are actually building armor. The little sustain that, well, I shouldn't say little, but the sustain that the Caitlyn already had, any type of ambient damage that would happen, any type of little AoE, or even a barrel chain that could chunk her for half her HP, with Hurricane having a second crit item getting built with IE and that BT on top of a Last Whisper, whatever barrel chain damage you did is healed in 2 auto attacks. So it doesn't even matter because you had no backline threat there. You had Elise to jump in, and your Aurelia was completely absent. So no backline threat, you're not touching Caitlyn. Caitlyn didn't even need peel, and she had Janna, who is like the master goddess of disengage if you need it, as we saw in that one fight in the blue buff where she just tornadoed the entire team and knocked them up so that they took a bunch of damage afterwards. So you had a Janna who's basically empowering this Caitlyn in the backside of a fight, Caitlyn is not being threatened at all. You have Silver Speed to run at the team, but you're not using it because no one could get into the back line because you didn't have your top laner. And your top laner was already behind, and your top laner was building damage and one kind of tanky item. Picking a full AD team is never good unless you have a plan to close the game very quickly. And they did not have a plan to close the game very quickly. They planned to pick people and win the game. So now, you look at the other team, shields, speed, they were winning the lanes first of all. And you had a Mumu who was dominating the game most of the time. You saw he was dominating the game just from early where he was actually getting kills, solo kills on laners, because they were just, disrespecting the fact that he was near, he's a Mumu, whatever it was, being where they weren't supposed to be. Then he built a little bit more AP, which is smart. He built AP, which was smart. I don't agree with him building Locket because he was too squishy against their only damage source, which is AD. However, he was taking care of what the Elise could do. That's okay. It could have been slightly better. I think he was building into a Randuin's after that. But building a little bit of AP because he had so many kills was fantastic. It made him a great damage threat when he got into the back line. Even if he hit his ultimate, he could probably chunk someone with that and his E, the Thrash or whatever it's called, bandage toss, and hit someone for probably about 50% of their life, which is a great start to a fight. That's fantastic when you're, engager who's supposed to die. That's going to happen. So you've got that. You've got shields. You've got the Caitlyn who is completely uncontested behind, an Olaf who's charging in with an Amumu, a Karma who's speeding up shields, and you have a Janna who's just standing and hovering over the team in case, hey, this is going wrong, I'm going to press R and get everybody away. And like I said, the biggest issue is take a look at, if you take a look at CS numbers, both the Elise and the Amumu have the same CS as Aurelia. If you do not keep up your CS as the game goes on, you become a non-factor. And the fact that you're not in a lane fighting with your team and you're split pushing like the entire game and not teleporting, not using a summoner that you took, purposely so that you could join the team and create map pressure, and you're still doing the same CS as your jungler, you're playing that incorrectly. Even in mid lane, TP, 200 CS at the end of the game. Yes, you're losing the game, but 200 CS with no real kills, not helping. You're just not gonna. There's no way that you don't get behind as a full AD team if you're not CSing. You're not already ahead from getting kills or pressure in lane. That's all there is. Overall, pretty good game from start to finish. There were definitely a few changes that they could have made there. I think their composition was like quickly kind of thrown together, or it was just champions that people were comfortable on. I think they could have done a better job in their draft and how they actually played the team composition. And that was one of the first things that I said was when you draft a team composition, you need to be really worrying about how you're supposed to play it. What's the objective of your team composition? How do you win the game as this team? Not every team comp is played the same way. Not every team comp is going to have the same goal at the end of the game. What is your win condition? You're not going to have the same win condition. So I think when they threw together this composition, other than get picks, they didn't really know what their win condition was because they weren't playing towards their win condition. And obviously, as you saw, Boosted Animals knew what their win condition was. If a moon was near anybody in the fight and a moon was near the team, Caitlyn's there to set up any type of traps in an area for objectives. You pull the team in, make them fight you. And that's what they did for the rest of the game after like the first dragon. They just continued to make them keep fighting. The only problem that they ran into was that second dragon, I believe, when they didn't have Amumu's ultimate and they tried to do the dragon and it went bad for them. That was it. Other than that, they knew what their team objective was and they played towards it, and that's why they were the winners. So I'm assuming that we're going to have a small break, and then it should be the third game of the round robin that should be happening. I'll be spectating another game. As of right now, you guys can talk about who's the MVP and all that. Honestly, if you're going to compare for each team MVP, it's tough. It's tough for me to say in Team 7 who the MVP was, honestly. Sivir was trying to do the best that she could, but there were some choices that could have been made that were different or better. But I think all players played relatively, the same level outside of, Aurelia not being around. So I don't know. That's probably more difficult for me to name an MVP on that. Karma did a lot with the help of Amumu, but I think, honestly, Amumu was the MVP of the game all over, just based upon the amount of pressure he was putting out, even before 6. After 6, I think he missed his chance to ult until like level 7 or 8. And that's okay. There's a little bit of a slow start once he got his ultimate, but after that, he just began bodying people. Like you saw it as he walked through the jungle. He would see someone, just walk at them. Later on in the game, he was just walking at people, and they couldn't really do anything other than they knew they wanted to stay away from him. So I think for this game, SRV will take the MVP, and he was definitely a great carry for his team. Let's see the damage spread, actually. So damage spread, he did about the same damage as Karma. Sivir did 10,000 less than Caitlyn, like I said was going to happen. And, GP did more damage. She did the most damage. And that's what I'm talking about. GP was kind of behind. Full AD composition. Did more damage than the Sivir, but still, it doesn't matter. Like, you have no backline threat. Aurelia, look at Aurelia's damage. 7,900 damage. 7,900 damage in a 40-minute game. A 40-minute game. I'm going to sit here and let that sink in. This is the face I'm going to make right here. I think that was long enough for me to make that face. 7,000. 900 damage as Aurelia. Olaf did 13. Olaf did 13. And yes, Olaf would do way more damage if like he could just run into the team and kill. But he couldn't. That wasn't happening. You could see clearly they weren't the stars. But 7,000 damage. I don't even know that, like, what does that calculate to? In 40 minutes. Let's see. So that calculates to 197.5 damage per minute. So it would be like, by the time the end of the game came, to scale this properly, that would be literally 1 auto attack per minute. Because I'm assuming that's what she probably does with Trinity Force. That's way too low. That's way too low. Next game, the Aurelia Angel of Chaos has to be a bigger factor. You have to. You have to think about your play. You have to be a bigger factor. Because 7,000 damage as an Aurelia, who is a backline threat, who can snowball and crush an AD carry or crush an AP carry, 7,000 is nothing. So right now, I think as far as my reviewing of that game goes, I'm going to put this on hold. I will be back for the third game of the round robin series, and then they'll be starting semifinals and things like that. So I'm going to put on some music until I think they have a 5-minute break or so. I'm going to put on some music. You guys feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I'll still be here in case you need to ask me any questions or give me your opinions on anything I've said. But I'll be muting my mic, so that's that for the small intermission we have. Thanks for watching, and this is the Boosted LANimals Fall 2016 tournament.